Hello, and welcome to Twin Peaking, where I show my friend Jay Kirsten Twin Peaks in order of my least favorite to favorite episodes, and we see if she can figure out what Twin Peaks is about. If you find yourself enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And that includes to Jay Kirsten at twitch.tv/JKIRSTYN. That'll also be in the description below. Without further ado, let's get started.
Okay.
All right, and then I just muted you. All right. Well, since I'm not including intros anymore because the intro will be after we watch the thing, right?
Yeah.
From now on, now that we know this. So yeah, let's get into it, and then I'll be like, oh, hey Jay, how was it? What do you think? Should I just jump into it? Now I don't know what to do. I think I'm keeping all this in here though. I think I'm keeping this part. I think this is the intro. Oh my god. Yeah, struggled the DMCA. We're gonna have to change the structure. By the time anyone else sees this, the other stuff will have already been done. But it'll be different now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
Yes, I am ready.
How'd you enjoy the episode?
It was actually a fine episode.
Okay.
Until the end, which we'll get to.
Sure. We'll get to that in due time. Yeah, what were your overall thoughts? Yeah, just a pretty good episode. There's definitely some new stuff being introduced for yourself.
Yeah, new stuff being introduced. I think it was a good episode because it's a lot of not clarity. Like we said it while we were watching it, but there's a lot of like good character moments through dialogue that happens.
Yeah.
I think that's what carried the episode in this one. It was good.
Yeah, a lot of stand and deliver type speeches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this was season 2, episode 10, A Dispute Between Brothers. This is what I rank as number 44, but IMDb actually ranks this higher at 41. Still kind of in the... But they think it's better than some of the other stuff we've seen so far.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start with the general question, and you can change this later. But do you think my ranking so far is correct? I think that's how we should start these.
I feel like it is better than the previous episode. I do like it's like nominally better, you know, it's not like great. And I think the reason why it ranks so low, and like I don't know if like I've only seen like maybe like 3% of Twin Peaks so far or something, right? But like there is not a lot, like it feels like a lot of setup.
We're closing up on 1/5. We're getting close to 1/5, I believe, right? There's 48 episodes, and we're
I don't know the math on
I guess we're on 44, so probably not that close. Probably still like maybe a 10th, I think, is about where we're at. So yeah,
I do think it's like setting up a lot of stuff coming up, which it kind of I'm just like, there is one episode that is missing between this and like the block that we kind of watched out of order, right?
There's 2 episodes 10. Because there's still 11 and 12.
Okay. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of context that I'm missing that will be filled in when we watch those episodes, because I still don't understand the gap between this episode and what we have already watched. Like, okay, man, we'll get to it when we discuss it scene by scene. But the ending is the thing that I'm hung up on. I'm hung up on that quite a bit.
All right, so we'll get there. In that case, let's start going through our new format of going scene by scene.
Yes.
Dissecting this. Yeah, so after the credits, what's the first thing we hit?
The funeral scene.
The funeral, that's right.
I guess it's a wake or whatever.
Yeah, it's post-funeral,
Yeah.
for sure. But oh, I should tell you episode names. This one is called Dispute Between Brothers.
Dispute Between Brothers. Which episode is this?
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Season 2.
Oh, okay. 3 days later from what? Where are we?
I was about to make the same joke.
Doc, I don't want it.
That's Sarah Palmer. You don't know her.
Okay.
Okay. She used to be important.
Oh, I see. Okay.
For both of them.
I think we actually start where Sarah Palmer, we're with her.
Yes.
But it's before that Cooper references driving her to the funeral area. So I think technically those are two separate scenes, even though they look like the same fucking house.
I put them together.
It looks like the same house. Like it might be at Donna's house and not, Grace Zabrisky's house. I think that's Sarah Palmer's house. So it might be there because I don't know why else Coop would be like, let me drive you to your own place that we're at currently. Like, I don't. But why would it be at their house? Even if they're the best friend, you wouldn't have it at someone else's house, right?
Yeah. I put it all as one scene.
Yeah.
Like that whole beginning section. I put it as one scene.
It's all the same texture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got a lot of
weird place to introduce a new character. To have her show up and be like, oh yeah, my daughter and husband are dead. Like, weird introduction for someone we won't see again for a while.
Yeah, I was like, she doesn't show up later. Like, I was like, who the frick is this lady? And so that was interesting. I have a note here that says Coop looks very handsome in this scene. I have a note there that says that.
I mean, like, as much as Albert in the first episode we watched, I know this because I'm re-editing it so many times. There's a scene in there where Albert pulls Coop aside and says, normally I'd say trading out the suit for the muted plaids would be a form of fashion suicide, but call me crazy, I think you pull it off, right? He's that's the thing. And we were both immediately like, oh, no, but he's hot, so he could kind of pull off anything. That said, like, him in this suit and in his FBI attire is just it looks correct, right?
It does look correct.
For you don't know it looks wrong because you didn't get this, but like for everyone else, it's like this is what he's supposed to look like. And like like, call me crazy. Like, did you feel that, like, coming into it backwards? I'd be like, oh, this is what he's supposed to be.
I know, I didn't get that at all. I thought he looked extra good in this scene. Like, he looks better than the other scenes I've seen him in so far. And so that's why I have that note that he looks very handsome in this scene.
Yes.
He looks very nice. And so...
This is true.
Yeah. That's the note that I have here.
So we're at the funeral where pretty much most of the main cast is there.
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to think who, like, I'm trying to figure out like why Norma and Hank are there. I mean, I don't recall them having anything to do.
But they're there. It seems like all the major players are there. Like, we have the police kind of crew with Harry and Coop.
Yeah.
And then we have the weird trio of Norma, Eddie, and Nadine there. We have that group, and then Audrey is there. And Audrey knows Mrs. Palmer. I didn't catch the lady in the wheelchairs, but she doesn't show up in the later episodes. But there was a lady in a wheelchair.
That's Donna's mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, there wasn't too much in that scene. There wasn't too much in that scene.
Well, that's where we
Going
get the
on.
title of the episode.
That's true, with the mayor
dispute-
versus the brother.
Yeah.
Besides, she's cursed.
This is his introduction, the guy in the center's introduction.
Okay.
And you remember the mayor.
Yes.
This is like his second scene, and his first scene was the very first episode.
Oh.
So he's just shown back up.
I see.
So you don't need further context to this.
Okay, okay.
I just thought you should know
What
that.
is happening?
Yeah.
But
Would
nothing
you
else
make
going
of nothing of note? Very kind of meh scene for you. Nothing to note.
Yeah.
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 So it goes through, and we kind of just see everyone have their little character moments of like Nadine being like, "Oh, there go! Look at my skirt through my reflection of the shoes," and
yeah.
it's like, "Don't worry about it." And some comforting coming from Audrey to Sarah Palmer.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's just people gossiping about the mayor and his brother's coming up wedding.
Yes.
How they hate each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next scene is the school scene, and I was very.
You're asking me to admit a 35-year-old woman to the senior class.
You got me there.
What?
How much longer?
Oh my
It's
God.
starting.
We'll be right out, Nadine. Just a few more minutes.
Guess what? Cheerleading tryouts today. I just saw a notice on the bulletin board.
That's great, honey. Why don't you go practice your splits?
Taking mental note of this to ask about later.
Yeah,
What do you think about
I'm
that?
making notes. I'm making notes.
Yep.
Like, you told me that, like in the previous episode we watched, that like Nadine goes to high school, but like that didn't like sink in until I watched that scene of
Where she actually
Eddie,
is like
where
being-
she's like trying to enroll in the school, and I just have so many questions. I'm
and
sure
they
will be
clarify her
answered.
age. You want
Yeah.
to enroll this 35-year-old into high
Yeah.
school. And everyone's
Yeah.
like, yeah. Doc Jacoby is there as well. You know,
Yes.
who I have clarified is like a psychological doctor / therapist.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that's how they get away with it, I guess.
I guess so. It's just very. I have question mark, huh? Question mark written next to Nadine on the school scene because I was just
Yeah.
confused.
So what do you think is going on there?
Okay.
How did we get to this point?
Okay, here's my conspiracy theory with that.
Okay.
The big question ever since I saw Nadine was the eye patch. And I was like, what if she like got injured on the head and it transported her brain to a time when she was younger, but she still holds the memories of her husband and shit? And so now she's like the age of a teenager in her head. And that's why she wants to go to school, because that would help with her mental development.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
kind of where I'm at with that.
So she got a head injury, is your
Yes,
guess?
she got a head injury. Yes.
Where
that's
do
my
you
guess.
think? Like, how did that happen? Do you think?
It has to do with her eye patch. That's what
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
Is like something happened there where like I don't know, her eye got crushed or something in an accident or whatever.
Sure.
That's my guess.
Okay. No, that's very good. So yeah, they go through and try to get her enrolled. We're kind of left with question marks of whether it succeeds for now, but I think we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next scene is the hotel scene with Audrey and Coop.
So this is it? You save my life, then break my heart?
Audrey, I've explained to you my personal policy about involving,
Yeah, I know. I'm a teenager.
and you were involved in a case I was working on.
And I liked that scene a lot That was also the first time I had seen Audrey and Coop interact that way with each other.
Yeah.
Which is it was a neat kind of like, oh, there's like character history here that I didn't realize that existed. Because Audrey later doesn't really interact with him. She has like her own storyline going on with her dad, as we all know.
Right.
I liked Coop in this scene because he's setting boundaries. I put setting boundaries ! Which is nice to see, especially in the 90s when relationships between adults and teenagers is very normalized on TV for some reason. And so I liked seeing that. I was not expecting this.
Someone was hurt.
That's right, because you're coming from the opposite way, where they're past this point. To be fair, everyone who watched it in this direction didn't expect this either, but for different reasons.
You want to know how? It's a deal.
Setting boundaries. Good job, Cooper.
Yeah. Especially for like the 90s, this is actually done really well.
Yeah, very well done. Also, this explains a scene earlier that we watched, which is technically later, that he's back in this hotel room and he's sad. Because, like, he was about to leave, but now he's back in that hotel room. And then I mentioned it during the episode that it's interesting that I see the background of this, of Coop, like, happily leaving the hotel. But I know in a later episode, he's back at the hotel and he's, like, super depressed about it. And I remember that scene very well because I think that was like maybe the second episode that we watched of Coop going back to the hotel and then, or maybe it was the first episode we watched. I don't remember, but like
so
the return of Wyndham Earl has made him return back to Twin Peaks. Like he's staying back at Twin Peaks. He can never leave because of that, you know?
So what we saw in earlier episodes, he was fine being in the hotel until he got to his room where he saw the death mask of his former lover, who he referenced in this episode.
Yes.
Wyndham Earl's wife. And sees that death mask, and that's where he gets upset.
Yeah. It's just interesting. It's a return to the hotel room that he thought he would leave. But now he's back. It's like a cycle. He can never leave because this thing is always following him wherever he goes, kind of deal.
No, that's an interesting reading of it for sure. Which honestly I think is actually fairly accurate in a weird way. Like as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, there's stuff you don't know where that actually fits in really well with. I particularly like this scene too because like those two, this is your first time seeing them together. They have a lot of chemistry.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Oh no, like that was a question to you. Like did you feel that between them of being like?
I did feel that. I think I'm interested to see where that comes from because he alludes to it of like, well, it's alluded twice I think during this episode where like he saves her life and like what leads to this moment where they're just so close that he cares so much about her. It's interesting. So
Yeah. On that note, like I know we're skipping ahead a bit, but like you just brought it up, the saving her life thing. What do you make of that? Like because we kind of heard where she was to a degree.
Yeah. That one I want to wait for more information to come out about that. Knowing Audrey, she's not as stupid as the other girls in the show so far. Like she's got a like wait, hold on. I'm trying to find where my notes are in previous episodes. Okay. Like Shelly and Donna both piss me the fuck off because they kind of like throw themselves at a situation and like you can like Shelly especially like I don't know why she acts the way she does in later episodes. She seems smart, but like, she's just Anyway, Audrey seems like she has like a brain, and
Yes.
so I'm wondering what kind of like like my first thought that goes into it is like, is she also investigating something that she accidentally gets like stuck in the middle of? Like, that's my first thought, is like, is she trying to figure out something that I don't know about, which we'll find out later?
Sure.
Then she gets kidnapped or whatever. Like, that's a question mark that I don't know. But I'm curious to see how she gets into that, because she doesn't seem like the type to just run into a situation all willy-nilly like Donna did in that one episode. My God. So yeah, I'm curious. That's what I'm curious
you think
about.
between the three women they would like separate out the gaslight gatekeep girl boss, but instead it's all concentrated on Audrey for sure.
Yes.
Like, she has all of it going for her, which we'll get into in another scene that's coming up for sure.
Okay.
But like she has it all, and yeah, there's a reason she's a fan favorite, which is why
Okay.
you know, I your introduction to her, like even from the introduction, I think you missed that like she was trying to protect her dad from her uncle, but I remember you hearing
I took
like
it as a wrong thing. Yeah, I took it.
just she's
based
going
off
for
her
the
dialogue.
business. Yeah.
I took like, just, I think the dialogue was like conveyed differently to me in that
Oh,
scene. 'Cause I didn't
100%.
get the context of what.
We're
it
starting to get
was.
into some of the better episodes. Like, even though this isn't a great episode, this is after the major people left.
Mhm.
And you say you felt this as well, and we're gonna get into it, but this is kind of like the capstone to the previous arc, as well as launching off to
Mhm.
this new section, right?
Right.
And
Right.
to a degree, it feels like that. That's why all the main players are at that funeral, right?
Mhm.
Is because it's
Right.
like, oh, this is the end of this arc, and we're gonna give everyone their moment in it,
Mhm.
and then now we're moving on, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
in that moving on, there's a whole bunch of episodes like where it's like the characters are still themselves, because they have 2 seasons of acting portraying these characters, so they kind of know who they are at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
some of the stuff that they're given, they're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Right?
Yeah.
like and to a degree, like Jerry comes back and is like, I'm gonna take over the business, and she's like, no, because even if he's mentally ill, I take over the business then, so step in
Yeah.
line. But that can definitely, if you don't know her, come off as like,
Yes.
this is mine now, and I don't care how it falls, rather than how I
Yes.
think, like, as we reveal more about her, it's more like, oh, she's trying to get everything back on the tracks. She's not trying to
Right.
do a corporate takeover.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's definitely how she comes off in that first episode I watched.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
yeah.
take it over, and I don't give a shit what anyone says about it, kind of deal. So.
yeah, which to be fair is coupled with like some of the worst scenes of like the other scenes you got of her were like dressing up as like a Southern belle, like being like, "Daddy, wake up" or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling at all
It's
from
not
any
a
of those
great
scenes.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, moving
Yes.
on. The next scene was I call it the house scene, where it's Bobby, Leo, and Shelly.
Bobby's actually one of my favorite characters.
And let Bobby.
Maybe not the time to mention that.
I gotta ramble.
I'm so confused why they're in this house. Like, that's what I'm still confused about. I know that will be answered later, but like,
Debatably. It's debatably. Those two are married. Those two right there in this shot are married.
oh,
It's his house.
Oh.
Yes.
I have no additional notes for that scene just because it's the same that we've seen, and I kind of already know what happens. But
Yes.
like, it's just Leo being, not all there, and then Shelly and Bobby, in the house. And so, yeah, I have no additional notes. It makes me feel bad for Shelly because Bobby leaves her like all the time to deal with Leo, And like Shelly's just like, now that I know, she's just a high school girl, and now she has to take care of like this guy that can't do anything for himself, and so like that sucks. And like and I have like Shelly, I have literally never seen her outside of that house. Like she has always been in that house. And I'm like, I would go crazy too if I had to stay at home and take care of this guy all the time and like not leave. And like your only friend Bobby is off gallivanting with Audrey at the hotel. And like it's just like, come on. Like it makes me, if anything, it makes me feel more bad for Shelly.
No, absolutely, and it should. That is the correct response. Yes. Her plot line is very stagnant to the point where even after Leo wakes up and tries to kill her and then runs off, but like she's still kind of in the same. She's no longer taking care of Leo, and she gets her job back at the diner. Yeah. Which we saw that scene, right? But outside of that, it's kind of like, and you're still, yeah.
She doesn't have anything,
which is a really shame, really a shame, because like I think that like out of the teenagers and even out of some of the like main adult, teenagers, I put that in quotations, but like out of the younger group and even as some of the adults, Bobby and Shelly are like two of the better actors of the show. I mean, Audrey is also very good, to be fair. So I guess it's just Laura Flynn Boyle and James Marshall that I'm taking a dig at. But like, legitimately, Bobby and Shelly like are very good. And Bobby gets these plot lines where he's kind of a dick, but at least he has something to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like it gets frustrating where you're like, so you're just kind of at home or at a diner?
Yeah,
that's what you're doing here? When like she has some like she has like an emotional range, which is more than you could say about some of these actors. It's. But so that's that scene. Like we're gonna spoilers. We're gonna have to reiterate this type of thing a lot with their scenes. I think there'll be more interesting things to talk about in their scenes. But I think you get the gist of what her thing is. Yeah.
I think I got the full story there. No additional notes.
Yeah.
Okay, the next scene is the scene between Catherine and Harry at the sheriff's office.
Oh, that's right.
I get the context that Catherine has been gone a hot schminute, and she quote unquote disappeared.
Hello, Harry.
Oh.
Forgive my saying so, Catherine. But aren't you dead?
And
I don't think I ever told you what the premise of the first few seasons are. The first two seasons.
You haven't told me. Yeah, you haven't told me anything about.
So I'm not going to tell you the premise, but I am going to tell you that like when this opens. Oh, flashback to the initial opening.
Okay.
3 days later.
Yes.
Which your reaction to was very good. From what? But that said, that's actually a big important thing, because the way that this TV show was told, which was like unique at the time, is each episode is a day. And sometimes like it'd include a night from like it'd open on the night before into the day.
Right. Okay.
Depending where the best time to cut. But each episode is a day. So when you say like 2 weeks ago, that's about when season 2 started.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
Or
Okay.
like, yeah. So like I think that's like context you should have
Okay.
for how this story has been told. If that
I
helps you line
see.
up like storylines at all either too.
Okay.
Because like when you put that in perspective, some wild shit happens within a few days of each other. But yeah, so she's been gone a couple of weeks.
Okay. Interesting.
What did you get from that story that she told?
That she was getting chased by something, and She almost died, but a guardian angel saved her. Good for her, Catherine.
So there was also something about a bomb and a fire.
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on that.
Okay.
I don't know what to think of that quite yet.
She did mention that Shelly was there.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
So yeah, that is something like, yeah, like that's why I'm wondering where Shelly, like, how does Shelly get into this situation of being with Leo? Because like something must have happened. Like I'm missing a big context thing between Leo, Shelly, and like all of that. I'm missing a huge piece of it. And
Well,
so
in a few episodes
feels
ago,
like it.
like a month ago when we first watched the first episode,
yeah.
you remember that Bobby said that, and part of what put Hank away was that Hank shot Leo.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That was in the first episode we watched.
Okay.
So,
There was a lot
I-
going on
yes,
that first episode.
especially for someone who's not keeping track of names and people and places. So that I'm here to remind you of information we already have.
Yes.
And I'm trying to do a job of not saying anything that we don't have currently.
Yes.
So like
yes.
I don't want you to be so flattering in this of like, oh, this isn't like to the point where I don't tell you things that have already been revealed. I will
okay.
absolutely re-mention stuff like that, especially since
Okay.
I've re-edited episode 15 a lot. So like that episode is burned into my brain right now.
I see. Okay. I was like, what happened here? Okay. So something happened where Hank shot Leo. Okay.
Yes.
I'll put that in my notes because that was definitely missed by me.
I think that was actually in one of your like first note, or wait, you didn't take notes on
Was
that first
it?
episode, did you?
Yes,
don't
I didn't
remember.
take notes on that first episode.
That's
I took
right.
notes on the second episode.
That's right.
Because I was like,
Yeah.
I need to take notes.
Yes, if we're doing this out of order, like there's all these different threads.
Yeah, I have no other additional notes on that sheriff scene other than.
Well, I
Catherine
have
was
some
gone.
questions.
Okay.
Do you believe Catherine?
I don't actually.
Okay.
I don't believe Catherine. No, because like she is a very conniving bitch, which I appreciate. That's a compliment to her. That's a compliment
Conniving
to her.
bitch parentheses positive. Like,
Yeah,
compliment.
exactly.
Like, yes.
Like she is a
100%.
very, very smart lady, and she knows how to work a room. And so I am curious as to what she was actually doing. I don't know if that's like, is that was she finding her brother? Like, is that like what is implied there? Because like her brother kind of just shows up later.
Remember
And
that
like
when
her brother's
they,
like, I'm alive.
That's true. And remember when they show Pete that Arthur's alive. Andrew, not Arthur. Whoops.
Right.
Andrew is alive. They're like, didn't you ever wonder how I survived that fire and lived out in the woods by myself for so long? It's because Andrew's alive and actually, hid me or whatever. So we already know at least that part is alive.
Yes, yes.
So I do love the line of like, I ran out of tuna.
Yeah.
Like, as why she returned is so choice. But she does have to get checked for mercury poisoning.
Yes.
Yes. But,
So yeah, I don't
okay.
believe her, but like I do think, yeah, she's a conniving bitch, and like good for her for quote unquote surviving in the
Sure.
woods for so long.
Sure, for at least disappearing for a little while to do something.
Yes.
In question
Yes.
question marks. What do you think that something is, or do you just are like no clue because she's out there? Like,
I do think that she's plotting something. Like I do think, I don't know if that carries over into a later episode, because Andrew is alive and she's very close with her brother, and so is there, and like, oh, I didn't connect the dots until just now, but Josie, Harry, at the end of the episode, Josie was out in the woods and she was like all like banged up and shit.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's connected, because Catherine was all banged up and shit, and probably in better condition than Josie. But I wonder if that's connected somehow.
All right. So I guess what my question is, do you think it's future or past of what she was doing? Do you think she was conniving and succeeded and that's she's back, or she was conniving and is ready to set a plan in motion and that's why she's back?
I think the latter.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Which is ultimately Josie's downfall, I feel.
Yeah.
Is that.
Yeah.
Part of it, at least.
Definitely seems related.
It does.
So the next scene is just a wild one where you find out something that has been kind of on my brain in the background as we get through some of these funny scenes that I really want to talk about now that you know this information. Okay, but let's get through this scene.
Okay, the police scene at the sheriff's station of Lucy, Andy, and Dick.
I would like to say that we're all in a very difficult position. I come from a large family, and Mama always said she couldn't have fussing and fighting around her when she had a bun in the oven. And until we know for sure who's gonna be throwing that baseball or building that dollhouse, we should all be friends.
Why are they all standing on this lap?
Yeah, what is happening?
There's some news that I think maybe you caught on to now, but hasn't been
She's
officially
pregnant?
announced.
So you
Yes.
go right ahead and talk.
And it's one of their twos, kid.
Oh my god!
And they don't know whose.
I knew that. Okay, I didn't mention it in previous episodes, but I knew there was something going on with Lucy and Andy. But I always thought that it was kind of like a playful, like Lucy thinks Andy is stupid, and
Like
they're
a will
just,
they
like,
won't they
really
in the future
close.
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realize that the chemistry had already happened, and she is pregnant and doesn't know who the father is. And so that adds a lot of context to their interactions of, like, that's interesting because Andy is such a...
It's to the point where you start to worry about consent a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Andy's kind of like an
boy.
idiot. Especially with that scene that we find out about, like, the kid. That, like, the kid killed the parents.
To
And,
be
like,
fair,
what are you talking about?
Dick is
Like,
also an idiot in that scene. He's just an
Oh
idiot
my
with like
God.
a British accent. Like,
And, like, is that their bond? Is this their bonding? Like, Andy and Dick? And then that's why they gallivant together to the kids' orphanage and look up the files? Like, it's so...
well, because
like,
part of what we were talking about in there, like we were talking about Hawk at the time, so I don't know if you missed it. But like he mentions that he started to volunteer and has taken a little kid under his wing.
Yes,
Which
I do remember that.
I don't think we've actually met yet. I think that kid is in these two episodes that we're still missing. And then we get the end of that kid's arc with them going to the orphanage and then finding out his past. But
okay.
yeah, so he's taking this kid under his wing, and like not to take the conversation away from you, I guess I kind of got your thoughts on this, but like, any of your final thoughts on this before I go off on?
It's just like no other final thoughts. It's just confusing to me how that happened. Yeah.
So I think that one of the greatest plot lines that is unfortunately a detriment to this later part of season 2
Okay.
is the Andy, Dick, and Lucy storyline, where it is very comedically rich. Does detract a little bit from atmosphere, admittedly. But like, I think that like, and I talked about it before, I love the whole like Andy and Dick going on adventures together.
Yeah.
Especially with the context of like, they both think they might be the father of this kid that Lucy has.
Yeah.
And then them being just like buddies with each other and being dumb together and going off and doing like that is very fun for me. That's very funny. And I wish that once the show gets back on track, they kind of drop that a little bit. The plot line is still there, but like the Andy and Dick, like spoilers, I guess, but like whatever. But like their relationship is not the same as it is during these ones where it's like, we're going to both get along till we know who the dad is. And then that turns into them adventuring and breaking into an orphanage and like that. I think that's such a fun thing. I think that's so funny and very good. And I wish there was more of that going forward. Like I love this so much of like that entire scene of like Dick going up and like feeling Lucy's belly and being like the child or whatever, and then Andy coming up and like for no reason also getting on the ladder and stepping down to be even with Dick, and then them just kind of being like, okay, we're here now, and shaking it. Like I love that so much. It's so dumb. It's so stupid. It's so good. I love it. And
Oh
like
gosh.
I've been waiting to talk about it because like you didn't have the context as we were having fun with those two. That like they're not friends. They both think they're the baby daddy of this other woman.
That's funny.
And
Oh my
that's so
gosh.
good. And like I was so excited for you to learn this information.
Oh my gosh.
It's very good. It's very good.
That's
Well,
very
so,
good.
Does that change your opinion of Lucy at all? The fact that she doesn't know which one's the dad?
I think that adds more to her character because she's
Okay.
so absent-minded and so she's not stupid. She's just a little like floozy, She's very
Yeah.
like I think floozy is a really good word to like describe who she is. She's fun. I do like her as a character because she has her moments, but she's very like her not knowing the dad, like that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me from what I've seen of her character, and so
That's fair enough. But yes, I was so excited for you to learn this information. I wasn't sure whether like how much you'd get from this of that scene, but like, oh boy, like the other scenes leading up to this are so much funnier knowing that like Dick pulling Andy aside to be like, I think this child has murdered his parents and we need to investigate. To Andy, and then be like, we're going to do this together is just so good. And I wish that they kept that energy of these two stooges bumbling around. But yes, sorry, I needed to get that out there because we've been sitting on that for the better part of those storylines.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the big chungy wungy of that scene in the sheriff's station is there's 3 parts. I separated into 3 parts.
Yeah,
The
because they
Harry
feel like
Coo-
separate scenes almost.
Yes.
Even though they're all
Yes.
in the same area. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The Harry Coop tension was interesting. A fishing hook.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, when those steelhead are running upstream, they are only thinking about one thing: sex.
Huh?
Greenbutt skunk breaks their concentration.
Why is there a lot of sexual tension in this scene all of a sudden?
Hey, listen, there's always sexual tension when they're alone together, okay? Like, it's great. I love it. My little by heart beats in this show. Truly. And he pins it on his right by the FBI pin. Aw. Keep his boyfriend close to his heart.
Yeah, for real.
We all agreed. You're one of us now.
Aww.
Harry, I am honored beyond my ability.
Oh, Coop looks so happy. And then there's a bunch
No.
of shit that gets thrown his way the next couple episodes.
We'll be there.
Oh my god, poor guy.
Man.
Poor Coop. What happens that makes him stay? Now I'm curious. And then that also added to later when Coop is getting interrogated of Harry protecting Coop. And I put Harry with a big heart around his name. And I just love their relationship a lot. That really adds to later scenes of Harry really going out of his way with Coop and vice versa.
If I understand the law correctly, you need extradition papers in order to get a statement from me. And you need a subpoena from a judge. Now, unless you gentlemen have that paperwork, I suggest you take your course.
Yes, Harry, protect your husband! Yes! Oh my god.
That attitude will serve you or Agent Cooper.
It's not an attitude. That's a promise. Agent Cooper.
Let's go.
is the finest lawman I've ever known.
Yes!
I've had
Yes!
respect for him since he arrived in Twin Peaks.
Talk your
I
shit.
don't know what information you have and where you got it from, but it is dead wrong.
I think that adds a lot.
There's also that scene like in the end of 16 where Josie dies and is turned into a drawer pull.
Yeah.
But like him jumping in and being like, don't make me be like this. Like when Cooper's, kind of in trouble with Josie pointing the gun at him, right?
Yeah.
And like the stuff like that. It really feel like it really layers on just how good like what good boys these two are
Yes,
for
they're
each
good
other.
boyfriends for each other. It's so great.
Like it's so cute. So I do have a question as far as that goes, and I think this is a good place to ask it. Typically in shows like this, where an FBI agent comes into a small town, there's some tension between the FBI people and the cops, right? And then eventually they get along.
Yes.
Do you see that happening here? We're pretty late into it, so if that did happen, we're past that, and that could explain some things. Or have they always been like this? What's your take on that?
My take, I think that I think there was a very typical like FBI versus cop thing, probably in season 1. I do think that something happened that there's a lot of trust there between these two. And so I think something happened where either like Harry put his trust in Coop and Coop was right about something, or some life-altering event, whether that might be like Harry almost dying or something like that. Something happened there that caused this relationship to have so much trust between those two. And so I think that they were standoffish at first, but the result is this episode,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
their closeness.
Yeah. In addition to that, if you remember back to episode 15, which I'm going to be referencing a lot because, again, seared into my brain right now.
Yeah.
Do you remember Albert, the other FBI agent who comes in? He was also in 16, where he ran all the forensics, determined that Josie was the one who shot Agent Cooper.
Yes, I do remember Albert. Yes.
Yes. When he first walks in, him and Harry give each other the biggest bear hug.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So, but Albert's also another FBI guy.
Yeah.
Does that factor into what you thought at all, or
No, I don't think so. I
Okay.
don't think that. I think maybe there was something that caused maybe including Albert, all three of them to have like a trust there.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. We'll see if that happens on season 1 or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about that one to note besides them being very cute?
No other notes other than we should address it because it does happen, of Coop getting suspended by the FBI.
Okay, so that's the third part of that scene that we were talking
part
about.
of that scene. Yes.
Deputy Hawk, if I'm ever lost, I hope you're the man they send to find me.
May the wind be always at your back.
Deputy Andy, your bravery is only exceeded by the size of your heart.
Aw.
Rare combination indeed.
Oh, this is like nice goodbye. This would be a great season ending
My best to you and yours.
thing if I didn't know that there's a bunch of shit that happens in the next couple episodes. Oh,
Sheriff Truman,
a Mountie.
Yeah.
this is Special Agent
Yes.
Roger Hardy of the FBI.
Roger, what are you doing here?
Dale, we've got a problem.
Oh,
Effective immediately, without pay. I regret to inform you of your suspension
what?
from the FBI.
What? Yes.
Well, there were all those touching goodbyes first where you're like, oh, he could really
Yeah,
leave
that
the
was
show.
nice.
And I think that if you have the meta knowledge, because remember, like, this is the end of an arc there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And this is the end of his part there. And, you know that David Lynch has basically left the show. Mark Frost has
Yeah.
basically left the show. And you know that, like, there's a few actors who were brought on who are very much of David Lynch's, like, oeuvre, like his stable of actors, right? And
Okay.
Kyle MacLachlan is one of them, right? He acted for him in Blue Velvet when he was like a
Okay.
lot younger. He acted for him in Dune, right?
Yeah.
And so like with meta, like if we didn't know it going backwards, you could really see this being like, all right, and now Kyle MacLachlan's gonna leave the show, and we're gonna delve
Yeah.
into what's going on in this small town,
Yeah.
leading up to his suspension.
Yeah.
It really feels like it could have been a goodbye.
Yeah. It could have been. Yeah.
But you know better because you've seen what
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
It's still a
Now, I
nice,
don't have
beautiful
it's
goodbye,
nice
though.
to see. Yeah, it's I didn't write any notes of that scene because like I knew it wasn't like really goodbye,
Right.
you know. But it did feel good. Like that's what I mean, that there must have been something that happened that caused everyone in that police station to really like people, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why I feel like there is something that happened here which we haven't watched yet, that everyone has such respect for him because I can't remember if it was the last episode or previous episodes, which one it was, but like I think it was Jean Reno in the last episode that we watched that says,
Yes.
you're an outsider who comes to this town and you ruin everything.
Yes.
And clearly, like, yes, he is an outsider, but clearly there's an established trust between Coop and the rest of the town that Jean Reno doesn't see. And so what is it that causes everyone in this town to trust Coop and for to a high regard that like I just don't know yet. And so yeah, that's why I feel like I'm touching on it again, but that's why I feel like the trust between Harry and Coop wasn't always there, because there must have been something
Okay.
that causes the scene to
Yeah.
happen.
Well, because like it feels like he loves this town. That's why he's taking his vacation time here.
Yeah.
But it feels like the town does love him back,
Yes. Yes.
right? And not just the people, but like the entire area itself almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I definitely see how it could be difficult to like see that, like how could he just show up and have this be what it is, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
yeah. But then he gets suspended. Well, he doesn't get
Yeah.
suspended yet. They tell him, hey, you're under suspicion. And then
Yeah.
that happens a few scenes later. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The next scene was Audrey at the hotel with Bobby, and Bobby trying to talk to her dad.
Count to 10.
Four, 5.
He's me when I have to wait around. I'm absolutely that same type of person, for sure.
I'm assuming that's the start of the arc of Audrey's dad going crazy, because he's kind of a little...
He didn't look put together. And like
He did
we see
not
him
look
later
put
eating
together.
we see him later eating celery and
Yeah.
talking with what's his face, and he looks put together by that point. This man is
Yeah.
clearly not well currently.
Yeah. No additional notes there, other than we see, Bobby and Audrey seem to work well as a team together.
Well, here's my thing. So he shows up. He's not being allowed in. They make reference to a audio tape, right?
Yeah.
That he's like, tell him it's not the only one. I have the original or whatever, and it doesn't fucking matter to him. But Audrey's like, oh, give me 10 seconds and I'll go talk to him. I'm pretty sure the way we're supposed to read that is she walked in there, did nothing, and left.
Yeah.
And that's why he got in trouble, so she could come in and save him again and see what he knows and what this tape is about. Is trying to get information, still investigating stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, does that read as what happened to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just don't have additional notes on the situation just because like her dad going crazy storyline is just something I just don't care about.
Yeah,
like,
I think this is unrelated to that, and then it just
Yeah.
disappears because he goes crazy instead.
It feels it gets
this would be so
missed in
interesting. Yeah, it would be so interesting, but it gets lost in the shuffle of him going Confederate.
There. Yes, exactly.
And so I get how you could just be like, I don't fucking care about this because it's gonna turn Confederate later.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's very interesting that like, again, she's being this active, setting up things to be like, like, I don't think she's honestly flirting with him. I think she knows what she's doing by like saying what she's saying, but is doing that to kind of be like, keep him like under
Connected
her,
to her.
Like he has this information that she wants to know.
Yeah.
Which, oh dear, I don't remember if this has happened yet, so I'll keep my mouth shut. So,
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
If it did happen, it happened last episode during the sting. Oh no, because this isn't the first time we saw them together, right? No, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Almost spoiled
We'll move
something.
on to the next scene.
Moving on to the next scene. Yes, I'm trying to remember what episode the certain scene's
The
happening.
next scene is Norma and her mom.
As usual, you're overreacting. Am I? Maybe I am. But they're my reactions. And the hurt I feel is my hurt. And how I react is none of your damn business.
Yeah, you tell her.
You be sensible. I'm being very sensible. I want you out of this place. I want you out of my life. I don't want to be hurt by you anymore.
You tell her, Norma.
Goodbye.
We get a lot of speeches in this one.
Yeah, we do.
of like, yeah, you fucking tell him. Like, I think this is our third one.
With the diner. And like, this is the first time I've seen her mom, but I'm very proud of Norma in this scene. Norma is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters. Because she, like, I just love the scene of her. Like, clearly there is so much history. Like, I feel like I don't need to know more about the relationship because so much history is put in that one scene between Norma and her mom, which is why I really like this scene a lot. And so, like, I love how she stands up to her mom. I love how she's trying to stand on her own 2 feet. I wrote her mom, and then I X'd her out, and then I wrote, I hate her in my notes. Because, like, I think maybe this is like a touchy subject for me, but I hate it when mothers are never supportive of their daughters for the sake of their quote unquote integrity. That is a really big thing that I can't stand, of it's just like trying to take the quote unquote higher ground, but not really. Like, you're just being a dick to your daughter, and your daughter can't rely on you, and so therefore you're an asshole, is very much how I feel about her mom in this scene. And it's just like, I hate her mom. I'm very proud of Norma for standing up to her, and I'm glad Norma, at least, like, it seems like Norma goes through a very big character arc of standing up to herself. Like, first it's her mom, then it's Hank, and then
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's taking the initiative to go after Eddie, which, like, that's like not great because Eddie, like that whole situation with Eddie and Nadine is a very complicated, stupid situation. But,
Sure, but what's he supposed to do though? Is also be like be stuck like. Is he supposed to
in
divorce this
terms with
mentally ill
Norma-
woman, or is he supposed
exactly,
to?
Exactly.
So
So
you know,
it's
I'm here for it, to be honest.
I actually don't mind that. Like, it's not great, but it's also like in terms of Norma, I'm very proud of like all the steps that she's taking to be the person that she wants to be. And so
She's a
I've
fucking
enjoyed
business
this.
owner. Like, let's go. Yeah, absolutely.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Gatekeep girl boss. That's Norma. Good for her. I'm proud of her.
I don't think she even falls into that thing either. of like, even when she stands up for herself, she's like, not like, maybe at best girl boss, but like even then it's kind of like, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not in charge of anyone else. I'm in charge of my life, and that's it. Like, yeah. But no, she's brilliant. The scene's brilliant. Do you think her mom comes back? Obviously, she comes back in our viewing of the show. Do you think she comes back? Because we're still missing like a good, 5-ish episodes, 6-ish episodes for the ending. Do you think she's in that last part? Do you think they reconcile, or is she back as a villain?
I don't think they reconcile at all. I think Norma is ready to move on. At least her character, to me, is ready to move on from her mother. And
Okay.
So I hope she doesn't come back.
Okay.
Because she doesn't deserve to come back. She doesn't deserve to be in Norma's life. Norma deserves better than her mom. So.
Oh, I'm trying to remember if we know this information. I don't think we do, so I'll move on.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to the hotel. I think it's a hotel scene with Jean Reno, Ernie.
No, this is actually a new place that we haven't seen yet, but has been referenced or is about to be referenced across the border in Canada.
Oh, it's Canada.
It's Canada, which is why the Mountie is there.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jean Reno, Ernie, and Norma's husband Hank.
I'll let you know, like because it's pretty obvious. It's like a brothel casino on the other side of the border.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is the professor, our new broker.
The Mountie guy.
Yeah. I think this is where we're supposed to have it revealed that like he's a bad guy. Though
He's a bad guy.
question is he actually still trying to do the sting operation that he claimed to be a part of?
Like this, can't you, Ernie? Yes, he can take care of it.
We know the answer. He gets shot.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's the question that's supposed to be in the back of our mind, supposedly, during this scene.
I see.
For the crabs and roulette, very scientific, eh?
Yeah. No additional notes. I assume maybe that this is supposed to be Jean Reno's reveal. I don't know. But he's very commanding in this scene.
Does this give you a different point of view of him compared to him getting shot and dying after a monologue?
Yeah, it's a very, like, it shows, that he's a very powerful person. I'm very proud of Ernie. That, like, compared to the previous scene that we saw him in, of him being sweaty and, like, a coward, essentially. Like, it did take guts to go from, Jean Reno, I'll give you money, to going to doing the right thing and going to the police. So I'm very proud of Ernie for that, even though I did call him a coward in the previous episode.
In your
Hank is still
defense,
an
we don't know
asshole.
how we got to that point because suddenly he's helping the police. So I'm not trying to tilt the scales one way or the other on this, but like let's maybe see why he went to the police first.
I mean, as far as I know, I'm proud of Ernie. Like,
Okay,
good for
yeah,
him.
sure.
Yeah,
Keep that pride
Don't
for him.
spoil me too much, Mac. Don't spoil me too much. As of right now, Ernie's in my positive
the
book.
one spoiler I give is about this inconsequential character who you're proud of. Careful about everything else, but I'm like, hey, maybe this one. All right, fair enough. You're proud of
Hank is
Ernie.
still an asshole.
Yes.
Hank is still a dickhead. I don't like him. And That was a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
Hullabaloo of cocaine.
And we have officially confirmed that the Mountie is crooked.
Yes.
We kind of knew that because we saw him get shot. but you know, we saw it confirmed in this scene, which I think this is the episode where he's also introduced. So it's like, oh, he shows up and this Mountie is kind of like, well, I was doing a sting operation.
Yeah.
And so there's a question mark of like, oh, is he still doing this? Is there another, like, is there a third party at play? And then he's like, I'm going to frame him with this cocaine. And you're like, okay, he's the villain.
Okay, and no additional notes other than that.
No.
All right. Harry and Josie is next. Oh.
Who'd you think it was?
I don't know. You know, Josie is a mess. For all of the
What else
episodes
is
that
new?
I've seen Josie in, she has been a mess. She is more of a mess in this episode than in other episodes, but she is still a mess. Yeah, I'm wondering if her running to Harry is connected to Catherine showing up at the sheriff's office because of what I know. So I'm
Okay.
wondering if that's connected.
So we do know that she shot Asian man, !
Yes,
Before, future or past?
that's past.
Okay.
I don't think she. I think as of this episode, she has already shot him.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah. No other notes other than Harry really cares about Josie,
I mean,
and that's it.
I feel like he has a stronger emotional relationship with Cooper than he does with Josie. Because Josie shows up, she's like, oh, I'm so tired and injured, falls down, and he just starts kissing all around her face. Doesn't ask what's going on, doesn't ask if she's okay, just starts kissing around her. And it's like,
fair. Valid.
I get that you guys have this insane sexual chemistry or whatever, but like maybe ask a couple questions if your significant other shows up like that. Maybe, just as this, I'm not a policeman, but as a policeman, I think I might start to ask a few questions if my lover showed up that way.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, the last scene, the fishing scene, with Major and Coop.
Major, I'm going to take a moment here. Feel the call of nature. There's nothing quite like urinating out in the open air. I look forward to hearing more about this White Lodge. From my journey.
That's how the episode ends.
Correct.
And then he comes back and he's like,
Yes.
I'm okay.
Yes, you
that's
are
dumb.
correct.
This
Yes.
is dumb.
When you remember-
This is dumb.
Oh no.
That's dumb. Okay. Oh my god. Yeah, I thought that was dumb because
Well, let's break
like-
down what happens in the scene real quick. Let's
Okay,
not just tear
so-
into it.
Major and Coop are fishing, and then Major's like, have you ever heard about the White Lodge? And Coop's like, the White Lodge. And then,
Then he's like,
Eh.
oh, one sec. Nothing beats
yeah, I'm
urinating
gonna go
out in the
pee.
wild.
Yeah,
No,
I'm gonna go
like his
pee
line
before
is
you
real quick.
write this story.
Yes, but the line is insane. Like let's not breeze past what he says there, which is, I need to heed the call of the wild. nothing beats urinating in the open air.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah, moving on.
happens,
I'm saying that
then-
with love. I love that line. That's such an insane thing to say, and Cooper pulls it off. Like, it's so choice.
And then, Coop sees a white light. There's a shadowy figure in the white light. Major disappears in the white light, and then the episode ends.
Did you
That's it.
recognize the face at the end now? At all?
No, I did not recognize the face
Okay.
at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was dumb because the reason being is I don't know if Major shows up in the next couple episodes that we haven't watched yet until I see him in a later episode that we have watched where I remember Coop saying like, "Where have you been, Major?" And then Major is like sitting in a chair explaining where he's been. And like, is that the conclusion of the white light like shining down on him and him going missing? Like, if that is the conclusion, then this scene is stupid AF, in my opinion.
Why is
like,
that?
It's dumb. Because like that's why I'm wondering if Major shows up within the next couple episodes. Because from my point of view of what I've seen, it goes Major goes missing in this white light and then is gone for the next 3 or 4 episodes or something. I can't remember how many. Until that one episode where it opens where Major is sitting in the chair explaining where he's been. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that means that this episode ends on a cliffhanger and that arc ends with basically an armchair explanation of where he's been. And I hate that because, like, just don't end the episode that way with a cliffhanger if you're not going to conclude it in a way that is satisfactory. If the ending of this arc is Major talking about where he has been in an armchair, then I hate it. I don't like how this episode ended because that's stupid and it ends on a cliffhanger for no reason to get you to watch the next episode, which I understand. I get that, but like it's just not a satisfactory way of ending that story piece for me. And
All
so
right, I have 2 separate questions about this then.
okay.
1, what would be a satisfactory... We have 2 episodes in between where you saw him in the armchair. Where,
Yeah.
to be fair, he didn't exactly tell, this is where I was, and here's what happened. He was very
Yeah.
disjointed and out of sorts
Yes.
about it. So
Yes.
it's still kind of a mystery.
Yes.
So first question about that. How, in those 2 episodes, how would his return be for you to make it okay that this happened?
I want a scene of Major, like, whether that's one scene or a couple scenes of, like, what Major has gone through that had made him so disjointed. Because from what we see with Major in the armchair scene,
To be
I
fair,
don't know-
first we see him sitting in a chair in the jungle.
yeah. But, like, that's it. That's literally
Yes.
it, right?
Yes,
Like, there's
yes.
no other context of that, of, like, why he's sitting in the chair in the jungle. And then the next scene that I think we see him in is in the armchair explaining where he has been, but it's just jointed. I'm wondering if they continue with that in a later episode that we haven't watched yet, past episode 16 or 17 at this point or something. And we get more of an explanation of the White Lodge or something. I don't know. But, like, knowing the meta of what you have told me, of, like, how the next arc that we have already watched is kind of like the lowest arc and they didn't know what they were doing. And now they're finally trying to bring people back on to the show before the show completely dies off. Do they drop this White Lodge, story point and leave it to rot, essentially, is what I'm wondering. Or if they actually do touch upon what happened with Major and that gets a proper conclusion. Because right now, the conclusion in my head is Major sitting in that chair and walking away, And so that's where
So, I
if
guess
that
that-
is the conclusion of this story, like I don't like it.
Okay, so
I'm not a
that
big
feeds
fan
into
of
the
it.
secondary question of if that's not
Okay.
the end of that arc, but is just a point in that arc, are you more
Mhm.
okay with it as well?
Yes, I would be
Okay.
more okay with it if it's just a point. But yeah, as of right now, that
And-
major in the armchair is the conclusion of this.
Well,
And so
To be fair, we did see him run away from the Navy in a later episode to come back and tell them, hey, I think that they're looking for the White Lodge for bad reasons, which I think was in episode 15 or 16.
Okay.
So at the very least, we know it continues on from there of like the military that he works for is looking for the White
Yeah.
Lodge, and he ran away because he doesn't think they're looking for it for the right reasons.
okay, we'll see.
So again,
don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know.
one way or the
Yeah.
other. It might still get dropped, and that's the end of it. And he's like, I ran away, so
Yeah.
they don't have any information, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
not.
I
That at the
hate
very
that.
least,
I
him
hate
not
that.
sitting in the chair is not the end of it. That it's a
Yes.
midpoint at the very least.
I would hope not. Yeah, because like knowing what we're like, if we were watching this in chronological order and I saw this episode and then we see it later on that's how that episode ending plays out, I would hate that. That would make me very angry. And so because we're watching it out of chronological order, it's still like that sucks to see that, you know, like
You
I don't
see a
wanna
trajectory
watch...
and you don't
yeah,
like
I
it.
See the
you see a trajectory and
I
it looks
don't
like
it.
You see a trajectory and it looks like a plane crash, and you're like,
Yes, exactly.
Maybe we pull up on that, hopefully. Like,
Yeah.
But you're not sure.
So
For sure.
we'll see, but that's how I feel about the ending. Of that
Okay.
episode.
Okay. But overall, outside of that ending, which it sounds like you're only upset because of additional context you have, but are still missing an other context, and you're unsure of where it's going to fall. It's like Schrodinger's ending
Yeah.
right now for you.
Yeah.
But you don't trust it because you know that we just went through the
Yes.
bad. We just went through the desert, and so you're like, I don't trust what I just saw
Yeah.
because this is the start of the desert that we were in.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, fair enough, honestly. Like, I'm right there with you. But so with that in mind, there were a few different vibes in here that are kind of changing up what the tone of the show was compared to some of the other stuff, right? There's like this White Lodge thing where he disappears.
Mhm.
They brought up Bob, if that's a real thing or not.
Mhm.
How is that? And in conjunction with what we saw with Josie and the drawer knob, has this changed? Like we're starting to get into some other stuff in the show. Has this changed what you think the show is at all?
Yeah, it's no longer a murder mystery, and now there's like supernatural shit going on, which it's fine. Like I'm fine with that. It's just like it's interesting. It's interesting.
Okay.
Like where does this show lie? Like is there supernatural stuff that happens in season 1? I don't know. But like if there wasn't, and then into season 2 supernatural shit starts happening, I can see why people started dropping off of the show. I can see it. I can see the vision of the future of, people being like, this is dumb AF, and
Well,
then dropping off of the show.
Question. So you do think it's supernatural, though? You don't think it's like Wyndham Earl kidnapping him and drugging him up at all, or like a thing still
No, I think
semi-grounded?
No, I think Wyndham Earl is it's like the underlying plot of the story. Like I don't see a connection with it.
Okay.
I don't I feel like he's like in Criminal Minds. There's okay, I don't want to get into it, but basically there is in a lot of between season 1 or 2 to season 3 or 5 or something like that, there is a villain in Criminal Minds that pops in and out every once in a while. And so I feel like Wyndham Earl is that, where he doesn't directly affect things too much until he's underlying basically until he pops up. And I think I don't think that this White Lodge thing, I don't think that's connected to Wyndham Earl.
Okay.
I think the thing that is connected to Wyndham Earl right now is later on with Leo, and that's him popping up for this season and then probably disappearing again. That's my thought.
Okay, interesting. So you're firmly convinced that this is like supernatural, not like
Yeah.
drugs, not like sci-fi, not something like that.
Yeah, and the only reason that I think that is Josie and the knob. That's the only reason I think that is that.
So at the time when you saw the man from another place dancing on there and the man in the vest, Frank Silva is the character actor who screams, "What happened to Josie?" Right? At the time, you thought that was PTSD.
Yeah.
Still think it's PTSD?
Oh. That's a good question. My second thought. Okay, here I'll rank my rankings of what I think it is.
I should also warn you, I will ask questions to deliberately mislead you with information we have. So like, don't take.
Okay.
I need to do that in order to sometimes like give you correct things and incorrect pathways.
Here's my ranking, Mac. Here's
Understood.
my ranking. PTSD, number 1.
Gotcha.
Number 2, Supernatural. Number 3, Coop is on drugs and he doesn't know it. Someone's giving him drugs and that man is slowly spiraling because of the drugs. It's like rat poison or something.
Okay.
Those are my three theories of that. So there you go. There's my ranking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get into the tail end of this about why I rank it where I do. Then we'll end recording and see if anything else pops up.
Okay.
But yeah, so I put this here because rather than being a return to form, it feels like we're kind of coasting off of the good stuff that we just got off of in the series. And it's kind of coasting off of what they used and built up. But it does raise it higher than anything else we've seen because what they've done and built up has been very good to this point. And so like, it definitely feels like, especially for me, like it opens on the picture of Laura Palmer, which is the girl at the end. That's why I asked if she looked familiar. Is like the first shot is her frame there, going to Sarah Palmer and having Grace Zabriskie back, the actress who's Sarah Palmer, like she's great and it feels good. And then some of the character moments that are at the funeral, you're like, okay, I'm getting worried for where this is going. But then, you know, you have these big character moments that were like set up from the previous arc. So you're like, all right, well, they're capitalizing on this. This is good. But they're kind of using up the reserves of what they already had going.
I see. Okay.
Right. So it's like these huge little spikes of character moments that we brought up, right? Of like, oh yeah, like there's a whole bunch of like standard deliver character moments where you're like, yeah, hell yeah. And I think that boosts it higher than everything else that came before. But I think even you mentioned like, but there's like this underlying like, oh, this isn't right, almost like it's you still feel the emptiness there of like, everybody's gone now. Like the writer who wrote for it, I don't think wrote any other episodes. Right? I didn't recognize the director, but if they did, like it's a whole bunch of new people, and like it is very much when like middle of the season of television where like they'll bring in these directors who like their only directive is to be in a holding pattern of like, I'm gonna let these actors make their choices because they know the characters better than I do or the writer does because we're just brought in for this episode.
Right.
And you can feel that in this one. So that's why it sits so low for me, is like, because like the future stuff that's coming up, I know people are going to disagree with me on this, but like the future stuff that happens in the rest of the series, it feels like it has momentum in its building. The stuff that happens behind us is significantly better. Even the worst parts of it are significantly better. of like, oh, there's definitely like this energy to it of these people who have an idea and are following through with it. all these episodes don't have that. And this one is just the one that's coasting off of what was left behind, right? There's a few episodes coming up that we missed where I like it. And I don't think this is a spoiler. I think that David Duchovny and Denise Bryson and that whole arc, I personally love it. And so that by itself gets those two higher than this.
I see.
But and you met Denise, you know David Duchovny is coming, so that's not like a spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's why they are where they are. So that's my point of view on that. Yeah.
I see.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you on whatever the next one is. That's Head on a Swivel. Oh no, wait, I had a thing. So next episode,
Yes.
if you want to look at the list, you can see where it's at.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give it away, but it is in the future. What do you expect / want to happen that episode in our following thing that we're going to see?
I want a proper ending to Josie. Like, I want her to have a proper funeral. And I want to know what Catherine thinks. Like, I'm very curious of a Catherine scene in that episode. And I hope she addresses it. And, like, she says something of, like, whether that's, like, I'm glad that bitch is dead, or, like, now I can fully realize my true plan or something, you know? It's one or the other, I hope Catherine takes a prominent role in it.
Okay.
So that's my wish and hope for that episode.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to call it there.